started the one recording. I started audition. So tell me when you're good to go. What? Don't clap yet.
Clap, clap. My chair is doing
slap,
it.
slap, slap. Clap, clap, clap. Slap, slap, slap. Clap, clap, clap. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the W.H.Y Cast. I think this is episode 6, G.
Is it episode 6? It might be episode 6.
It's probably episode 5. And we're just stupid. I don't know.
It's one of those.
We've done it. We've been around for a month. We've done more than a month worth of episodes at least.
Yeah, that's a little surprising.
Is it surprising, G?
I mean, yeah, a little.
Did you not have faith?
I don't have faith that I'd be able to show up for an entire month straight.
That's fair. Also, this is episode 5. I double checked. So, not episode 6. This is episode 5. So
we did fuck it.
Yeah, because of that, the one-off trade deadline episode I did with Zach.
Right, of course.
Anyways, welcome to the W.H.Y Cast. This is episode 5. This is officially our 4th big episode, G.
Hey.
We've done 4 of these. We're
exactly a month.
We can call ourselves official now, not just because
Can we?
because we're on Spotify.
Hey, I don't know that. You're doing stuff that I don't even know.
Yep, I put us on. We're on Spotify and Google Play. iTunes turned us down again because they don't like me. So that's
what's
fun.
the requirements? For
I think so. On our feed, there's like the 4 episodes, and then there's also this 5th episode that's kind of like a guideline. So I think iTunes picks up that guideline episode and is like, oh, this is just a test you're doing. So I'm gonna delete the guideline episode, or archive it or something.
Right.
And then I'm going to resubmit it because Spotify and Google Play do not show that archived episode. But hey, if you're on Spotify or Google Play or Podbean or probably a lot of other places that I don't know of because there's no way to directly submit to them, you can listen to us now. I don't know if I can... What?
I said we're there.
Yeah, we are there. We got 4 episodes up. You can listen to them. We typically talk about entertainment news to start off the episode, and then we go into a big topic and discuss our feelings and cry a lot.
Oh, do we?
No, we don't. We haven't done that yet.
Oh, I thought I was going to have to catch up or something.
Yeah, you need to sob the entire episode, G. You need to cry. We're going to make you cry the entire episode.
Okay, give me a second. I'm going to grab some onions.
Okay. No, I'm joking. We talk about entertainment for the most part, games, movies, just general entertainment news, and then we go into a big topic which is decided upon randomly. Like today, I looked at a list of topics and we pulled from one. If you guys would ask us questions, we'd have a question block at the end.
Ooh. Yeah.
So
again, they could be anything. They don't have to be related to anything.
Just ask G about his sex life.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Might as well.
Go ahead.
Might as well. We will answer anything. So, as always, if you want to ask a question, you can ask it right now while you're listening to the podcast. I'm @XJustified on Twitter. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me so I can see your questions. I'll archive it and we can talk about it next week.
We'll take priority over them, right?
Who did what?
They'll take priority, right?
The questions?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, we could, but I thought that was a good way to end it. But who cares? We can do it whatever we want. If we get a question, maybe you'll be the first thing we talk about. Or maybe it'll be before the big topic, but after the news. We don't know. We don't have any questions yet. Come on, guys. I see the numbers.
Question.
What's your question?
Why don't we have any questions?
That's something you're going to have to ask the fans. I know we've at least had 38 people since the last time I looked at the statistics listen to this podcast.
How many of them were us?
None.
Oh.
We've had 38 people uniquely download this podcast. We have forced 38 people to listen to our ramblings in the last month.
We forced them? Did you go around like putting a gun up to their head?
I posted the link on Twitter, and if you click on the link, maybe it forces you to download. It doesn't force you to download it. So we just have 38 people that have listened to the podcast, and thank you very much for those of you who have listened. We
we appreciate it.
we honestly didn't expect anybody to listen to this,
Yep.
so this was just something we wanted to do for fun. So we appreciate all of you. Just ask a question. If there's 38 of you, and one of you ask a question, you get to be the first question. The first question we do on this podcast.
We will always remember.
Will we though, G?
Always.
Will we always
Yeah,
remember?
hello? Yeah, I mean, I can say that.
That is fair. That is fair. We don't have to come through on any of those promises. So this is the last week. This is the last week that I'm doing organic. Hey, if you listen to this podcast, ask a question to me on Twitter or through. I don't think you can. We're not on iTunes, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to see the reviews. Ask a question through Twitter or email. I guess you can email me, kalesmichael@gmail.com. If you want to get a question in that way, I'll do it. Sure. I'll probably make a podcast email at some point, so we'll have that going. But this is the last week I'm going to do it organically. After this, I'm posting to like a Reddit to get a question.
All right.
Or multiple questions. But this is your last chance, viewer, listener.
Yeah, you could be the first.
You could be the first and last question, because we don't know if we're going to do this next week. You never know. Maybe there's just not another episode of the Y Cast coming.
It'll just be over.
It'll be a surprise. Anyways, other than the questions and thanking you people who are listening right now, a little bit of housekeeping. This is the 4th main episode of the Y Cast, so it's just episode 5. We don't care about the numbering of this episode. We just do it for continuity's sake. So this will come up on Sunday the 24th, and then hopefully we will have time to put our thoughts together for the start of the Kuroko no Basket watch along and analysis that we're going to start doing every Wednesday.
Yeah, we did promise last Wednesday we'd do it, and I'm gonna take the blame on that one.
Nah, you're fine.
I'm gonna take the blame on that one.
I mean, you can take the blame on it if you really want to, G, but I'm not gonna blame you for it.
All right, I guess I did nothing wrong. Let's move on.
Yeah, but should we though, G? I'm just gonna say you might want to keep your eye out for a special episode this Friday.
Oh.
There might be something going on late Thursday night that I'm going to have some people on to talk about. Unsure at the moment, but if you keep your eyes tuned to the podcast feed, you might get 3 episodes this week.
Ooh.
Who knows? And then we'll almost be in the double digits already.
Wow.
I know, we're moving along real fast. And speaking of moving along, are you ready for the news, G?
Yeah.
Good. Because now we get to talk about some sad.
Yeah.
So, as of yesterday, well, not as of yesterday, the announcement came out yesterday that Nintendo of America's president, Reggie Fils-Aime, is going to retire almost effective immediately. He's basically giving it a month for the new guy, ironically named Doug Bowser, to
appropriately named Doug
Bowser. That's fair. To kind of get a comment. I'm sure this has been like an internal discussion for a while, so it's not like they just sprung this on him.
No, they saw that his name was Bowser and it's like, oh, we got to get him up here.
Gee, he's been a part of the company since like 2015.
We got to get him up here.
Okay.
That is the only reason. I'm certain.
He's 57 years old. He said that he's going to officially retire in April, so March he will still be in the role, but on his way out the door.
Young.
Oh, well, yeah, but he's also been in the industry for a while.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow.
So, but this isn't for a reason specific, like at least we don't think it's for a reason specifically in the video that they posted to the official Nintendo of America Twitter. He just said that he wants to spend more time with his friends and family. His kids are getting older. He wants to be there more because Nintendo takes a lot of, like, a position like CEO takes a lot out of a person, and for somebody like Reggie who has been on the record stating how much he loves games but also loves the interactions with fans, he gave it 15 years of being in this position, or at Nintendo at least. I don't know if he's been the CEO for those in the entirety of that run. Those 15 years he basically gave everything he had to the company. Like, there are hundreds and thousands of fans who have had amazing interactions with Reggie, and he's been nothing but genuine, fun-loving, talked to them about the games, asked them about themselves, just like all these genuine fan interactions that people just countlessly recount to, like, on Twitter. Like, when he announced this, the internet was just an outpouring of support and love, and just like everybody giving each other a hug because this is like the end of an era for Nintendo. So, and it's not the end of an era in a bad way either. Like Reggie saw them through two extremely tough times. Like the GameCube, he came on. I don't remember when exactly he came on. It probably came on like 2004. So GameCube was on its way out. It had been out for 4 years at that point. So the GameCube was on its way out. Didn't sell extremely well. It was a good console, but it's more of a
just couldn't compete.
It's more of a cult thing now. Like the GameCube is my favorite Nintendo console, just because it has a bunch of my favorite games on it. So, but it couldn't compete with the PlayStation 2, which came out the same year.
PlayStation 2 just sort of dominated the entire field, which was unfortunate for everyone else.
Yeah, but not unfortunate for gamers because the PS2 was great.
Oh no, it was amazing.
Yeah,
I don't regret anything.
I love the PS2. So it's just that he came in at a time when Nintendo was struggling, saw it through one of the greatest periods of all time with the greatest selling console of all. Well, I don't know. The PS2 still sold more than the Wii, but it's Nintendo's greatest selling console of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
with the Wii,
still good.
Saw it through that era and then into a decline with the Wii U, and then these last 2 years with the Switch, which have been astronomical for Nintendo. So it's just that as somebody who started getting into the games industry, like not more recently, but like with Reggie, essentially, like when he became the face of, hey, I'm going to do all this stuff for Nintendo. I'm going to be at the press conferences. I'm going to start interacting with fans. As somebody who kind of started paying more attention over the course of that, Reggie has always been the guy for me. Like up until recently, like Phil Spencer and Shuhei Yoshida for PlayStation and Xbox respectively. I messed up the order there. Phil Spencer's Xbox, Shuhei is PS4 or Sony. Mm-hmm. It's like those guys have only come into my field of view within the past like 3-4 years. Reggie and Iwata, Miyamoto, all those guys have been there. So like they've always been fixtures in my more modern gaming career. So seeing one of those guys after Iwata's tragic passing in 2015, knowing that Reggie's leaving in, as he said, good health, with just like everything that he has, going to spend more time with his family, like I just want to give him, like he gave us so much for so many years. I wish him the absolute best. So
I think everyone does.
He was the voice of the players among these.
By the way, we're sort of speaking people. Like he's dead right now.
Yeah, but I mean, like, and that's like all these publications are essentially doing that.
I know, but like he's not dead. He's just retiring. It seems like he's content. Which is a good thing.
It's an in memoriam of his career.
Yeah.
So it's just, especially at a time when I didn't expect anything like this to happen. Like they're having such a successful time. Actually, I think now that I look back on it a little bit, I think this is the perfect time for him to step away.
Yeah, you don't want to make a transition when things are rough. It'll just cause more issues for the company.
And this isn't to say he won't do anything else. It's just that it's good on him for making the decision to take time versus money.
Yeah, I think the guy knows what he wants in life.
Well, he's made enough money. He's he has a pension, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
So he's not going to be hurting anytime soon. Like, go spend time with your kids, go spend time with your family and friends, and go enjoy the games you've helped bring to the world.
Yeah, I can't wait for as sad as some people are that Reggie's leaving. I can't wait to see what happens with the new guy. At the very least, for the memes, because I mean, there's already a ton of memes.
Oh, let's transition over to talking about like Bowser a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, we talked a little bit about this while we were compiling stories. This isn't the first time he's been in the spotlight. Like he's done Nintendo Treehouses before. He's done skits and bits with Reggie, and I think he did one thing with Iwata before Iwata passed. I'm not 100% sure on that one. He's done stuff with Miyamoto. He's talked with fans. Like he's been a presence. He just hasn't been the presence that Reggie is or was at this point. So now he's going to be kind of stepping into the bigger shoes, and he does have some really big shoes to fill.
Yes,
but
I
I
mean, it'd be
think
fun.
he has the potential to do it.
His the first image that came out, the of him thanking everyone, I think, or
Yeah,
I forgot what he was holding up. It was a thank you, right?
him with like the whiteboard
Yeah,
that
yeah,
says "Thank you for the warm welcome," because everybody's sending their outpouring of support to Nintendo as a company, Reggie and Doug, because people are congratulating Doug at being named the new president.
yeah. I mean, that first image is aside from saying thank you and everything. If you look in the back, he's got plushies of Mario and Luigi tied up with I think a GameCube
It was a
controller.
GameCube controller, yes.
Yeah, which is just that's hilarious.
And
With the whole situation of him being named Bowser,
yeah,
I like
he's
that he's
leaning
playing
into the meme,
it.
just like Reggie leaned
Yeah,
into
it's
the
great.
memes for so many years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's a great
That's
start.
A good president.
We know that he's a gamer. He plays all these games. He loves. I think Splatoon 2 is like his favorite game to play on Switch. Other than he really loves FIFA, which makes sense because the only thing that I know people are going to hold against him is before he worked at Nintendo, he did work at EA.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know what
Nah,
I don't know what his position was. Uh, but he's been at Nintendo long enough, and his personality has kind of shown through in the moments that he's been in the spotlight.
Mhm.
That I think we have enough reference points with him to know that he's not just going to, and he's not the one making the calls.
No, of course not.
It's just he's one of the bigwigs now.
Yeah.
So I have faith that he's going to be true to Nintendo and be true like Reggie was. He was an advocate for the players. So
yeah,
that's
I think at the very least, Reggie probably set a precedent for him to follow.
I mean
So
that's why he's so beloved because he knows what players want. He knows it's a business, but he also knows that if you're straightforward and are honest with the players, you're going to get their respect and their trust.
yeah,
So, which is something Nintendo has earned in spades since the Switch came out. So,
indeed.
like you can see just from their like numbers and all the like the outpouring of the outrage when they announced that Metroid Prime 4 was going to be delayed was nothing compared to the thank yous for being straightforward so we know. Like outlets across the board were praising Nintendo for being straight up with their delay.
Yeah, I wish more companies realized that being transparent and honest is and admitting fault is always like 99% of the time, in my opinion, the correct action and will give you a better reaction from your fan base than trying to cover up the mistake and fix it behind the scenes because that never works.
Yep.
Or rarely ever works.
Well, I think that's I think that's a good place to move on. G, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, sure. Marvel Spider-Man gets a permanent price drop. So the game,
my game of the year. Well, no, I take that back. It was one of my game of the years. God of War was my game of the year. Like that game was just, that was so
amazing.
Good. I love that game.
Yeah, it's gotten a price drop to $40 now. Is that
yep.
Right? Or yeah, 40.
No, it's $39.99 U.S. dollars. So sorry, Canada and Australia, who still have to pay the obscene prices. God, I feel bad for them.
Yeah, it happens.
But
yeah, this is great news for anyone who wanted to get the game and didn't pick it up. And this is one of the things I love about this game. There's some games like they're just really fun games, but they're really story driven that I wouldn't pick up once I've watched it. And like God of War, I'm a little less inclined to pick it up because it's sort of an interactive movie to a certain degree.
That's what it is. God of War is I don't know if it's the closest to a movie that we've ever gotten as a video game, but it sure is pretty dang close.
It feels so much like a well put together Hollywood style movie.
That the fact that the entire camera is one movement,
it is so amazing.
That is like one of, if not the greatest technical achievement in a video game that's happened in I don't know how many years.
Yeah, that's
like that blew when I first saw the fight with the stranger in the opening like hour of that game. That it blew my mind that it was all one camera.
I didn't notice until I saw videos of the director pointing it out, and I went back and rewatched. I was like, "Holy damn! They actually did that throughout
Yeah,
the entire game." And
like Corey
that
Barlog
must have
and his
been
team at Sony Santa Monica
they're
completely
insane.
deserve all the praise they've gotten for that game. Like
Yeah,
it is, I cannot praise that game enough. I think I'm trying to think of. I'm not. Maybe we'll have some like another games person on, and we'll talk about like a game of the generation podcast at some point.
yeah,
But this is an entertainment podcast, so we're probably gonna do that at some point.
of
It's
course.
just like that game. I think is it's the only PlayStation exclusive like third party not third party exclusive that's not a Nintendo game that's gotten me to feel that way about a game in forever.
It's just a really well put together game, and I know a lot of people are like, I kind of want a PlayStation 4 just because of it now,
It
which
sold
is
it's sold a lot of PlayStations.
yeah, which when you make a game that starts selling the console it's on, yeah, you made a damn good game.
Uh, I just wanted to double check this to be sure. God of War is also $40,
Oh wow, I was
which
not aware of
isn't
that.
isn't rare because I know for a fact over like Black Friday and a bunch of the sales it drops down to like as low as 20,
Yeah,
which is insane. Like if you can get God of War for $20, even if you don't know if you'll like it, $20 is worth that game.
oh yeah, no, you're not gonna be disappointed.
Like I'm just happy that there's the prices for games are lowering faster now, or
Yeah,
at least for games that sell well, and even games that don't sell well. Obviously, those prices drop, so they'll start selling more.
mm-hmm.
I enjoy this kind of like cycle we're going through because the way I play games is I buy them when they're on sale.
Yeah,
I I buy the the big titles like I bought God of War when it came out. I bought Spider-Man when it came out because I knew I was going to like those games. But for a game like probably going to get Anthem because I'm working on a project with a friend about Anthem,
right.
and I'm going to need to play it, and I'm excited to play it or play it more. I played some of the demo, so it's just that I don't play a lot of AAA games when they come out unless they're like a Spider-Man style game or a Nintendo game. Like I'm gonna buy Fire Emblem when it comes out, even if I don't know if I'll like the game because I like Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
So
but
that's really the only exception. Most of the time, I buy an indie game or I wait until a game is on sale to purchase it.
yeah,
And the
um,
fact that this dropped to $40 already, it's been less than 6 months since it came out. Like that's fantastic.
right. It's great, and it's one of the things I was gonna say earlier where the game being this cheap, getting cheaper, is is great for anyone who hasn't picked it up, and it's not one of those games where I might be like, I don't have a PlayStation, but if I did, I might be hesitant to pick it up because I might have seen like a bunch of gameplay videos or seen story plot elements already spoiled because it's been out for a while. Except for the fact that the mechanics of the game are just so fun.
Oh yeah, this
Like
game
you're not gonna get bored of that.
I spent I don't know how many hours after I beat the game just swinging around the city. Like
Yeah,
I
I mean,
did as soon as the world opened up, which was essentially within the first hour, and you could go explore the entirety of New York, collect all the backpacks and stuff. I did it. Like I ignored the side quest and the main quest and only did the crimes in the areas because I wanted to go and see all the sites, take all the pictures, do all the like get all the backpacks and all that stuff, and it was just so much fun.
yeah,
It
one of the greatest things for me in games that I like, I don't even need to do missions or anything. I just end up having fun with a game if it's got a really in-depth and creative mobility system and gives you plenty of room to move around in. I can just have fun finding out how to work the system.
See, and that plays into well. First off, the final point I was going to make on Spider-Man before we go into kind of the price drop in general.
Hmm.
Um, I that Spider-Man is my first and only platinum. Like it's almost. I don't know how many people have told me and have told the world that this is the only platinum they have ever gotten, just because it's easy to get if you love the game, and this game is very hard not to love.
You know, one of the things regarding this game that I think it had a lot of pressure on it
Oh yeah, it absolutely
because
did.
yeah, it was sort of competing with the original Spider-Man games, which You're not just competing about how good. Which one was the best? The
It
second
it
one.
everybody says Spider-Man 2 is the best because of the
Yeah,
swinging mechanics.
yeah. So you're competing against that, and you're also competing against the nostalgia of that, and you still come out on top, and people love the game.
Oh,
That's
it came out
impressive.
on top by a wide margin.
Yeah, that's
Like it's insane. And then
pick the game up if you can.
yeah, absolutely, especially with this price drop. But I that leads into like so Crackdown 3 came out over the past week and a half,
Hmm.
and it's gotten mediocre reviews, like in the 6 to 6.5 range for the most part. So it's not a
And
bad
that is,
game, but it's like it's about what people expected after all these delays.
yeah,
So, but the one thing I've heard constantly is, other than this game is still a success because Game Pass. Like,
right.
I don't know how many people have played this just because it's on Game Pass, and I'm gonna play it because it's on Game Pass. So, like, I love
Of
Crackdown. I
course.
played Crackdown 1 and 2. That's one of the few Xbox exclusive games that I've actually played before I got this Xbox. So, but I've heard it's so much fun, just so much dumb fun with the mobility of you just being this character and traveling the world as long as you're not in a car, because I've heard the car mechanics aren't great.
Uh,
So, but the other like the actual movement itself is fun. So games like that. That's why I think I'm gonna like Anthem so much. So because I played the demo on PC and it felt a little weird, but once I get a controller in my hands, love the idea of I really want a good Iron Man game, because
right.
the concept of just being able to fly somewhere and launch into a fight while you're flying, like
It's
shooting
cool.
missiles while like mid-flight and everything. That concept is so much fun to me. It's part of why Kid Icarus Uprising was so fun, because even though it was an on-rail shooter for the most part, like it just felt good while you're like maneuvering in the air to fight enemies.
Yeah, I mean it adds a completely new dimension to fighting. Like you can move on the x-axis now, like in a very
Yeah,
controlled
and I remember
manner.
we talked about this before. I think the mechanics in Anthem remind me of a game called Dark Void on Xbox
Yes.
360 and PS3, where I didn't even own the game. I had the demo on my cousin's Xbox 360, and the demo threw you into this open like ravine kind of basin area with a flying alien base in the top, alien ships flying around the area, and it just lets you fly and fight. And I played that demo I don't know how many times, just because the flight, like it's not even. I don't know what the scores on that game because it was before I cared about reviews. It was just a free demo.
Yeah.
I had so much fun in that demo alone, and that's the vibe I get from my like 2 hours playing Anthem. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. To There's gonna be problems with the game, but
oh,
I
there
think the
are
people
already
who
like
enjoy that will
well
really
documented. Hey, this is an issue with the game, but it's also the first week and a half it's been out, like early access. People had it a little early, but
yeah, that's fair.
like
Give it a
it's a
bit more
game as a
time.
service. If you're worried about this game, just wait. It's not going anywhere for the future. It'll be around for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'd give it
I
a 2 year window before you've kind of missed the train.
Yeah, that's probably a fair estimate. Anyway, should we move on?
I say we can, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I'll
yeah, you
take
want
this
to take
one
that one?
because
Yeah.
you don't like Overwatch.
I'm not the biggest fan.
So, as of I don't remember when this came out. I saw this image. There wasn't even an article on .esports. For those of you who don't know, I write for .esports. The This image that got teased, this white image with it looks like a T with a red shield behind it over a white background, was the only thing I saw when I turned on the .esports website earlier this morning. And I was really confused why, because there was no article attached to it, and that was a site error, not the article itself wasn't there. But I was like, what is this image? And then I find out Overwatch teased a new hero, uh, and so uh, we don't know if that image itself has anything to do with the character. But right now, people are saying that the new character is someone. It's an ex-talent agent called. Excuse my pronunciation. Like Baptiste. Like it's Baptiste or Baptiste. So,
Beast.
and he is noted to be a good shot, especially for a medic.
Mm-hmm.
So
Another
I
hero.
don't know what this means for, and they got rid of the whole like there are no classes in Overwatch anymore.
Oh, okay.
Like it's you know what the character does, and you build a comp based around that. Like
Okay.
there are still game modes that are like, hey, we need people that can heal and people that can do this, people that can do that, and there are categories that are locked off once you choose a class. But
Right.
they're not doing like this is a DPS hero, this is a tank, blah blah blah. They mix characters now.
Yeah, I mean that's good. Some
'Cause-
characters
because,
don't really
Brigitte,
fit into it.
Yeah, because Brigitte is a weird mix between a tank and a healer.
Yeah.
So like those kind of classes are partially out the window at this point. But I just wanted to briefly mention this because it says this is from Play Overwatch yesterday. They posted a picture. It's a short video. I'm not going to click on it right now because it probably play something. It says unauthorized access detected. Talon firewall bypassed. Accessing file classified. Communications record of Captain Cuevera or Cuerva D. I'm not caught up on my Overwatch lore. I actually haven't played the game since Ash came out. I've been really busy in playing other games. So just know that there's another hero getting teased. It'll probably come out, I would say April, because I think that's when we got the hamster, Hammond or Wrecking Ball or whatever you want to call him. So just keep your eye out on that. That's cool. I like Overwatch. Overwatch League is going right now, so it's iffy if we're going to get the hero before. If we get the hero while Overwatch League is going, I don't remember if they had released a hero the last time and then implemented the hero into the Overwatch League meta, or if they just waited. Because before,
I can't tell you.
Before the Overwatch League began, they would run it like most other esports, where if there was a major tournament going up, they'd play on the patch before. Like they'd play on the last big patch, and then after the tournament ended, they moved to the next patch, which is like kind of the standard.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out. This is cool. I'm super interested in seeing more Overwatch lore, them expanding the universe. Hopefully we get something in the next year or the next something that's, yeah, let's make a TV show or a short series rather than just these character shorts that we get every once in a while.
Short series sounds cool. TV show sounds like a disaster.
I'm talking about like an animated show, not live action. So
I know it still sounds like a disaster. I don't, because to me it seems clear that they don't have a lot of the lore set up.
Oh, see, I think it's the opposite. I think they have a lot of it planned out. I think it's just they don't have the way they want to put it all into context.
I feel to me, at least if it was me, because I know originally they didn't come out with this game with like a lot of lore plan. I'm trying to think of when the first big lore drop happened.
So I haven't read all of the comics and stuff. I just know that what we get is super interesting. Like when we got every trailer we get, like the character trailers we get, all that stuff is super awesome. Like the one we got for my favorite character in the game is Reinhardt.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got the background of why Reinhardt is the way he is, like that was insanely just detailed and heartwarming, heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's so good. And the way they interweave how the characters know each other is so well done. I want to see more of that. And I'd actually prefer if it's comics. I would love to see Blizzard partner with something like League of Legends has been doing with Marvel, if memory serves, where they partner with a company like Marvel, or they probably do Warner Bros. In this case, and they put out these comics that they have a dedicated team overseen by one of the guys who also helps oversee the lore of the game to keep everything cohesive.
Right.
And we'll see if that comes to pass. I don't think it will. I think we'll continue getting these short little bursts of things every once in a while, and character shorts and whatever, and that's fine. It's just not what I want personally.
You're gonna have to push for it as a community.
Yeah, to whatever.
League of Legends has a very, very large community behind their extensive lore.
Yeah, and League of Legends is more interested in fleshing out their lore.
Yeah.
So Overwatch is more about the community as a whole,
Mhm.
which kind of sucks because the community's not great. So
Oh,
as instanced by a streamer that I had to write an article about who got a 30-day ban for uh calling South American players, and I quote, shit. And then she got banned from Twitch because that's hate speech.
okay.
And then there was a
Let's not.
whole debacle. Everything went down. Uh, turns
We are
out,
not a
yeah,
controversy podcast. So
look,
I'm
I
just
know.
gonna.
I'm just saying that like there's apparently a South American Discord server who was like trying. They were trying to like stream sniper and stuff. It just devolved into this whole thing. Just don't be bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Play the game. Enjoy the game.
Like it's got the feel of a League of Legends and community, except it has voice chat, which is a big no no.
Are you a girl playing my Overwatch?
That's unfortunately a very
Anyways,
accurate.
G. Next
Uh,
story.
oh, next story we've got the GTX 1660 has been unveiled, and the
Is it
price is actually pretty nice.
is
It's
it
two
out?
hundred.
Is it out right now, or is it for pre-order?
I'm fairly certain you can. I mean, I'll check. But I'm
I
fairly
mean,
certain you can buy it.
you keep saying. I'll check.
Okay.
What's it
Okay.
called? The GTX
Uh,
what?
1660.
Okay.
So it has been unveiled, and the price is $280. And unlike its RTX competitor, does not have the. It is not. Technically all graphics cards are capable of running ray tracing, but it isn't really set up to do that, so it won't run it well, and it'll probably just like slow down your game ridiculously if you try. So it's not set up for ray tracing, but you do get a pretty good price for a graphics card that is supposed to be around a 1070, maybe a little bit better. Um, a little worse than the 2060, but for anybody who wants a mid-range to mid to high range graphics card, this is probably the best value deal you're gonna get.
Hmm.
So
Well, as of now, I'm looking. I'm going to Amazon.com right now through Nvidia's official site. It looks like you can buy. It says it will be in stock on February 24th.
okay, so in two
So
days,
in 2 days, you will be able to buy both.
or when this comes out.
Yeah.
Uh,
So as this releases, you'll be able to go to. I'm on Amazon right now, but I assume it's from all buyers. You will be able to
yes.
buy the GeoForce GTX 1660, the lower end model, and also you can put in orders for the slightly higher end model, which will run you. The regular model will run you $289, and the slightly higher end will run you $329. Right now, it doesn't look like they have a date on when the higher end model will be.
Are you talking about the 1660 Ti?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like the slightly more advanced model will run you $40 more. So
yeah, yeah.
and it says
Um,
it'll probably be. That's the one that's apparently that one's already sold out. So
yeah.
makes sense.
That I think is the one that's supposed to compete directly with the 1070
Sure.
and supersede it. So anybody who's looking at a 1070, the 1660 is a better. The 1660 Ti in specific is just a better offer because it should be a little bit cheap.
Probably will be a little cheaper. I think I don't
Yeah,
even remember what I'm running in mine right now.
just also be a little bit more power efficient if you don't if you feel like you might be pushing your power supply getting a 1070.
Yeah. So let's hope that this trend continues and we get some nice cheaper tech.
Yeah, I mean, for Nvidia themselves to continuously pump out more and more graphics card that competes with their other graphics card, I don't know if it's a good idea, but for the consumer, it's great.
Maybe that's their plan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who
Anyway,
knows?
we should move
Next,
on.
next we are going to talk about how Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart both got a world record for their roles in the X-Men movies.
Okay, well, I guess we'll go to that. Sure.
That's the one I have next on the list. G.
No, I don't know.
Is
I
it
mean,
not on
there's
the?
some.
Is there another thing on the list that I missed?
There's one right above it.
Oh well, we'll do that one next.
Yeah, we'll do that after. Yeah, it's not
I,
a big deal.
I did in fact skip that one, so my time codes are going to be slightly off. That sucks. Oh well. Yeah. So Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, otherwise known as Wolverine and Professor X, in the X-Men movie franchise, which is very hit or miss. Not a great franchise. Definitely should have ended before now. and there's still another movie coming out. God, why?
I mean, it's got some bright
Nope,
spots though.
nope. It's got two bright spots. I'd say the only good X-Men movies that I would go back and watch are Days of Future Past and First Class was pretty good, so three because
It
Logan.
doesn't. Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's Logan, Days of Future Past, and First Class are the only three I'd ever go back and rewatch.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean by the few bright spots.
Yeah, but out of how many movies they've released,
Oh, I'm not saying it's a good like franchise.
like
Just, it's got
I'm not even a huge fan of the Deadpool movies.
bright.
Like just because they were fun in theaters and they're fun to joke about with friends or watch with friends, but boy, those are just like the word babble the movie. Like they're fine.
Yeah.
They're fun. But like Logan's an amazing movie. Days of Future Past is a really good movie, and then First Class is pretty good. So,
Yeah, so,
two is good, but it does not hold up.
No.
So, but yeah. So, getting back to
There's
like
some nostalgia factor with them also, but yeah, congratulations to those two actors.
yeah, both Jackman and
I'm sure they
Stewart.
listen.
I'm reading this from IGN. Go give them a click. Both Jackman and Stewart have officially held these roles for 16 years and 228 days, as both appeared in the first X-Men movie in 2000. Both also starred in 2017's Logan. So,
Can you imagine?
Jackman says that it's been a lifelong goal to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. Patrick Stewart came in his own video saying, "I've discovered that you and I are now in the Guinness Book of World Records. Congratulations, my friend. There's another thing to hang on your wall." So that's great. It's just a nice feel-good story. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool little side thing. Now, if you really want to, which I know you do, we're going to talk about more technology.
We don't have to go too much into it. And I'm not actually the biggest like fan of phones and like the phone conferences.
Okay, let's preface this. What phone do you have, G?
I do have a Samsung Galaxy, but it's an S5. It's an old one. I don't really keep up with phone tech that much.
I'm a little more. Well, a little. I've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 8.
Yeah.
Because I just recently switched over from Apple this last year.
Congratulations.
I switched over because I was tired of the operating system and I wanted some more control over how my phone worked.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I heard that Samsung was. I was originally going to get a Pixel.
Yeah, those are probably the best.
Because I'm a big fan of Google. I heard the Pixel was really good. The Pixel 2 had just come out, so the prices on the original were pretty low. But then they were running a deal for Samsung where if you trade in a phone, an older phone, you get $200 off. So it dropped the price from like $1,000 down to, or a little like $900 to $700. Wow. So I was like, that's a pretty good deal for like a brand new S8 Note, whatever. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that because this is going to be my phone for like at least the next 2 years. Like this thing runs great. I love it. So I traded in my old iPhone 5C.
Wow.
Because they literally said, this is the list of phones that we will take. And it was like the dollar amounts they're worth next to it. And the 5C was the last one on the list. And it was worth like $25. But they said, if you trade that in, we'll give you $200 down.
Wow.
And I was like, Mom, stay here. I'm going to my house to dig up my old 5C and charge it real quick. And I did. And boy, I saved $200 for a phone I was never going to use again.
That's pretty good.
That was great. And I love this so far. I'm probably going to stick with Samsung. I just got a Samsung Gear Watch. And I've been loving it. So I'm probably going to stick in the Samsung system for at least the next couple of years.
Yeah.
But their new stuff is interesting.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't heard, they've unveiled their S10
their
phones?
S10 line, because the S9 came out last year.
And in addition to that, the Galaxy Fold.
Well, not the first foldable phone. It's the first foldable phone from Samsung. That's the new model of foldable where it's all touchscreen still.
So how this works is it's kind of a mix between a tablet and a phone, because the phone itself has...
The proper term is phablet.
A phablet. Okay, we're using phablet from now on. The screen, the phone itself has two screens. When it's folded up, it's got a front screen that you can use like a normal phone, and then when you open it up, it's got this giant screen that was being folded, and it's like this big square, and you can use it like a tablet, and the thing is massive, and people were all excited as this was being unveiled, and they were clapping as they heard, oh, it's got 1 terabyte with room for a micro SD card, also there for
Expandable
more
storage,
expand.
all this
You
stuff.
get
You get a
you get
tablet
like
and a
a
phone all in one. It's like
you get like Adobe Premiere Rush for video editing for free on
boy,
it, and
that's not gonna work well.
people were just getting really hyped. And then they said, and it's only $2,000, and it got a little quieter, and it's a
Now,
really expensive thing.
okay, now to be fair, um, for people who are extremely tech savvy and use a tablet and a phone in a day, this might be a good investment. I'm not gonna say
Okay.
it will be because this is the first one. It's gonna have flaws.
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna have its issues. But for somebody who, say, if this is a successful model, and they're somebody who uses their phone, but also having a phone that doubles as a tablet, just in their pocket at all times, would be useful for them. This just might be a smart investment. Now, personally, this is not for me. I use my phone for I take notes on my
Mm.
phone when I'm not in a class. I use it to do interviews on. So if I'm recording somebody's voice, I have voice apps for that. I use it for occasional editing, new research, texting, calling, social
Mhm.
media, and that's essentially it. Like, I don't use it for entertainment purposes outside of music and podcast. So I don't use it as a video, even though the screen on this phone is great. It's not my primarily used for entertainment like a lot of people do. Most people, I can't remember the stat I looked up on YouTube when I was doing an article on something YouTube related the other day, where it's like I 80 something, seven, like high 70s to low 80% of YouTube is viewed on phones,
Wow.
which does not surprise me
Yeah.
because I know
Um,
my cousins specifically, like there are a lot that are like almost
it's convenient.
eight
It's easy.
years younger than me, always just watch YouTube on their phone.
I mean, you can. It is the most mobile computer
Yeah, we have
device
supercomputers
we
in our
have. So
pockets now. This is just
yeah, it's amazing.
this is going to make money because some people will want this.
Yeah, it will absolutely make money. The reason it's probably 2,000 is because they know it's not going to be a super high seller, or at least I don't expect it to be. I can't
It won't.
imagine there's
It will
too
not
many.
be.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's too many people who even have the money to spend on this Galaxy Fold. So the price is probably that high to help make up for the fact that it's not going to be bought out um,
Yeah.
entirely.
Now
But
let
that being
now
said, give credit. It is a really cool concept. The fact that you can fold it up, um, and it's a little thick when it's folded, but it's relatively thin in general, and it's got this huge screen because it's a foldable screen when you do open it up. That's pretty cool, and it's going to be a fun thing for those who have it, and it's going to be useful, and you're going to have to use it as a tablet, I imagine, if you want to get the full value out of it.
oh yeah, like if you're gonna try and use this as a phone with like a tablet functionality, don't get this. Just get the S10, which
Yeah,
I'll get into like the specifics of the S10 here in a second. But
it's really a niche market. You would need to want both a tablet and a phone, or at the very least a tablet that's easier to carry.
yes,
That's what
absolutely.
you would
So, like, if this thing drops in price by the time I need a new phone, like if I can get this for the price of whatever the new, I don't, by the time I want to get a new phone, it'll be like an S12
want.
or something. If it's around the same price, I might get this phone, depending on the
Oh
specs
yeah.
of whatever the S12 is compared to this, because by that time my Chromebook might be on its way out, and I can be like, oh, this is a good way for me to like do all my reading instead of like having this and a Kindle. I can have
Yeah.
because I do most of my reading on a Kindle, so it's like, oh, this is just I have a phone and a Kindle all in one now, and then I have my writing stuff, whatever. It might be more
It's a
convenient for
big
me at the
convenience.
point.
It
So,
is a big convenience. The main thing I'm looking forward to is seeing how it's received
oh yeah,
and how popular it gets. Because if it's received extremely well, then this is going to push other phone manufacturers to follow in its footsteps, and we're going to get more of these combos of foam tablet.
More experimental technology.
Especially with the folding screens. We'll see what happens, and it could be like a nice stepping point.
And for those of you who just want to know about the S10, like the regular model that's not the foldable.
It's a beefed up phone.
Yeah,
it's got up to 1 terabyte of space.
Okay, the terabyte isn't important. Nobody, like, if you were trying for a terabyte of space on your phone, don't. Like, you do not need that much space, especially since these are expandable.
Yeah, I think you get like 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty damn nice, though.
Yeah, but you don't need that on a phone.
You'd be surprised how helpful that would be on some phones.
Yeah, but that's on some phones, and it's also a new model phone.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need that. The battery is insane on it too, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm aiming at is it's got a new, completely like glass, whatever the screen is completely set up to where it's got like I don't remember what it's called. It's a cutout thing. It's not a bezel because that's the sides. It's got this thing on the front. It's got a brand new touch sensor that's completely under the glass, so like their fingerprint scanner's better.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a much better, like, their camera is crazy good.
Yeah.
They've got a much better battery life, a completely new operating system for S10 on. So, it looks really nice and colorful and much easier to, like, manage some stuff. It's got a bunch of, like, small upgrades that most new phones have.
It's the next it's the next souped up phone. So if anyone has the money to spend and they don't want the fold, or it's too expensive fold,
it's essentially it's a slightly, I don't know what like the exact numbers on the iPhone X whatever it is this year was, so like the XS, the XR, or whatever, it's essentially the equivalent to that with slightly better features for like the common folk, I guess, whatever. It's got slightly more features than the new iPhones do. It's got the equivalent of, hey, you've got the XS, which is, or the S10, which is like the regular model. Then you've got the S10 Plus, which is a slightly bigger model with slightly bigger battery and all this. And you've got the S10e, which is the affordable option.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cutting a few corners. Like I know for a fact it's got the still outside fingerprint scanner. So it's cutting a few.
I don't think the screen's curved on the edges either.
I don't know. Whatever, because mine is. I would assume it is curved because mine is curved.
I could have sworn. Well, don't hold me to that, but
who knows?
Yeah, anyway,
whatever. We're not phone experts. Just know that it's a significant upgrade.
Yeah.
So like it's not just an incremental upgrade like what it looks like the 10 was, like the new 10s are compared to the old 10s for the iPhone.
Yeah.
So who knows? Buy those phones at your own risk. I don't think these ones will explode.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, should we move on?
We can move on, G.
You want to take the next one? I think you're a bit more hyped for it than I am.
Sure. We can talk about Space Jam, G. It's time to come on and slam. And welcome.
I forgot that this existed until you reminded me of it.
Good, because Space Jam 2 is confirmed, and by confirmed I mean they announced that it's going to come out July 16th, 2021, starring LeBron James and the Looney Tunes, and also probably a bunch of NBA players.
Yeah.
So I assume Kyrie Irving is going to be in this. That's about the only other character.
I feel like he might not be.
I feel like he will be because he and LeBron made up.
Yeah, but he was in the Uncle Drew movie. I don't know if he's got some like.
He does not, because that's his own movie.
Oh, that's his own movie.
Yeah, he made that. Like Uncle Drew, it was like in partnership with Pepsi because that was where Uncle Drew started as a Pepsi commercial.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Pepsi like saying, "Hey, we want to make a movie. We're gonna."
I mean, it might have been, but he's doing other movies too. Like he's making a movie about a haunted hotel that some teams stay at when they come to Oklahoma City.
I see.
So that's going to be his next movie that he's working on right now. But I assume like he will be in it, and so will Blake Griffin, probably.
Yeah, I imagine Blake Griffin will
the actor people.
I'm just imagining all the NBA players that would be horrible, like just aren't good.
So like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, sure, Michael Jordan. I'm thinking like, I know he's not in the NBA anymore, but Tim Duncan would be great.
Can we get Kawhi Leonard?
Yes.
He can do his awkward all-star dance and then laugh.
Oh, that would be amazing. Basically anyone from the Spurs that's not Manu Ginobili.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's put Pau Gasol there. Pau Gasol's fun.
Yeah.
If he's still in the league in 2021.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can't imagine this movie being good because the first one, like nostalgia aside, it was not a good movie. It was
No,
just
it's an awful movie.
bad.
It is absolutely
It was
terrible.
fun. Yeah, it was just one of those movies where it was so bad it was fun.
I own 2 copies of it on Blu-ray.
I don't why. Okay, I'm not gonna ask. Don't answer that question.
You didn't ask a
But
question,
yeah, and,
so I'm
and
not
I
gonna
don't.
answer it.
Yeah, and I don't think they can purposely recreate it so bad it's good.
Probably not.
So they're
Although
just
I'm
trying
going
to
to give
make it good, and I can't imagine that happen.
I'm going to give it credit where credit's due. LeBron James, much better actor than Michael Jordan.
Very true. Michael Jordan might disagree with you.
I don't care what Michael Jordan says. He was bad.
Yeah, he was bad.
I'm just saying.
Anyway.
LeBron James, the scene that he had in Trainwreck was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So and he's a very like personable, like he's got a great personality, very charismatic. I think this movie will be better than people are. There's going to be people that are like a while before it comes out are going to try and hype it up, and then it's going to die back down to people just being like meh, and then it's going to surprise some people.
It'll be in. I think
it's going to be what Uncle Drew was. Uncle Drew was
kind of bad movie with some.
Did you see Uncle Drew?
I've seen some clips. It wasn't.
I watched
great.
the entire movie, and it was pretty good.
I wouldn't call it a good movie though.
Gee, you haven't seen the movie. You don't get to talk.
I've seen a lot of clips of it.
That's clips out of context. It was like, I'd give it a solid C. It was an enjoyable movie.
Okay, okay. There's a difference. When I mean I don't think it's necessarily a good movie, I don't mean you can't enjoy it, or it's not somewhat enjoyable. I just mean like in a critical sense. Like if a critic were to rate it, they wouldn't exactly give it.
I think
they wouldn't exactly suggest it to people.
Like Space Jam minus nostalgia, if it wasn't just like such a bad good movie, like it wouldn't be a good movie at all. Uncle Drew, objectively good movie. Like and now that's to me.
This is all relatively speaking. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like as a person who loves the NBA, so in putting this in context, I went to see Uncle Drew with my 70-year-old grandpa, who is who is a Hall of Fame basketball coach.
Okay, all right.
Me, who is a huge NBA nut and basketball nut in general, and with my little cousin, who's a very young but extremely into basketball and plays a lot of basketball and is very good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So the three of us went, and my grandpa and I were like slapping each other the entire time because it's like old basketball references that my little cousin went right over his head. But it's like making jokes about Chris Webber choking in the Michigan game back when he was there with the Fab Five. Just like old basketball jokes that we were getting and we were laughing about. My grandpa was having a blast, and it's just.
Yeah, I think that's fair then. Then I'll take back what I said. It's probably a good movie, especially for those who are into.
If you're a basketball fan, it's a great movie. But I'm saying objectively, like as a movie itself, there are very few parts that are bad. So, like, I would say give it a genuine shot as a movie. Like, I went in thinking it was going to be a bad good movie, but it was actually like a pretty solid movie. Okay. So I don't have that expectation for Space Jam 2.
No.
My expectations for Space Jam 2 are it is going to be fine. I'm not going to enjoy as much of it as I did Uncle Drew.
Here's the thing, like it doesn't matter to me what happens with it. But I think I'm gonna enjoy the process of it coming out.
Oh, absolutely.
It's gonna get memed to hell. It's gonna get joked on.
Now, please confirm that Bill Murray is gonna be in the movie. I put today on Twitter. I was like, what's the over-under on Bill Murray being in this movie? Because if you put Bill Murray in this movie, I'm going to see it.
Fair point.
I'm probably going to go see it anyways, just because basketball. But Bill Murray is one of my favorite people ever.
Yeah.
So you put Bill Murray in this, I'm going to go see it probably twice. Just to support Bill Murray being in something. So, right. That's happening. I'm excited just because, like, more basketball movies is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So more basketball in general is a good thing.
It's always fun.
So
basketball's really hitting it off in these last couple of years.
Yes, going to be the global sport in another 20 years.
Anyway,
It's gonna be that in soccer.
Yeah. I don't think soccer's budging anytime soon.
Soccer's not gonna budge anytime soon.
Yeah.
Anyways, G, it is time for the big topic.
Woo!
So, today's big topic we are going to talk about as soon as I scroll down to the bottom so I can read what I put earlier because I was busy entering time codes.
Stalling.
Why do we identify with or as certain things? And we're not getting into gender, we're not getting into like the more
Politics.
political, that kind of stuff. We're talking in terms of sports fandom and PC versus like other like consoles, like what we enjoy. So
Yeah.
we're gonna put this in perspective, like we just talked about sports a little bit. So let's continue that trend of. So I am
First.
okay.
Yeah. First, let's give off what we consider ourselves in the sports and video game world.
Okay, so in terms of sports, I am a Celtics fan first for NBA basketball. I'm also a huge Thunder fan, but that's just because hometown team. So
Yeah.
and basketball is my number one sport ever. So I just love watching basketball in general. Then for college basketball, I'm Gonzaga University. Watch a lot of college basketball.
Right.
Don't care about college football, but if I had to watch a team, it's OU, Oklahoma University, University of Oklahoma, whatever. Then it's baseball. I'm a San Francisco Giants fan. I'm a diehard Steelers fan, which sucks right now. Then that's for NFL, and then hockey. I'm in like a transition period hockey wise. Like, I really like the Penguins, just because I like the Penguins.
Right.
I like the Bruins, and I like the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
All right.
So I don't really have a team in hockey that I'm diehard for.
Of course.
So, but in terms of like sports in general, I have diehard teams. So, and then we'll get into the gaming part after this. So go ahead and do your sports part, G.
So I'm a lot. My list is much more limited than yours because the main sport I follow is the NBA. That's the main league I follow, and obviously, you know that I'm a Bulls fan, because hometown team.
Gar and Paxton for the win.
Except I can't really watch them right now, and it's bad. So like, I need to find other teams, and I have other teams that I enjoy watching. I love the
You're
Bucks.
telling me you don't like what's his
Oh my
name?
God, it's so bad.
Archidiakono?
Stop.
You don't like the one man show they got going on? You didn't like the Jabari Parker experience?
No.
Otto Porter's $28 million.
There was only two good, exciting spots in the last two seasons. Markkanen turning out to be awesome last season, and Zach LaVine having a short but fun run at the start. That was it.
I'm happy you had at least that.
Yeah, and nothing else in 2 seasons. Yeah, so I follow the Bucks because, like, for the last 3 or 4 years, I've loved Giannis. He's just an amazing and fun. I think most people love watching Giannis. So there's that. I'm basically any team that can challenge the Warriors, I follow because I want to see competition in the finals and in the semifinals.
Never.
So I'm on the hype train with the Thunder right now.
Durant's gonna re-sign, and they're gonna get the next. They're gonna somehow trade for a good. They're gonna get a good guy in the draft, and they're just gonna go.
Yeah. So I'm on the hype train for the Thunder. I'm on the hype train for Philadelphia because that is a stacked team.
Toby and Bobby had 19 points yesterday.
Oh, it was so fun.
That was the best.
Yeah. And I'm still on the hype train for the Rockets because James Harden is a freak and is really fun to see.
Boy, that game last night was not fun.
No, that was not. But in general, that insane streak made me want to follow them again. So, yeah, that is basically it. The only other sport I even somewhat follow is soccer. And that's mainly because my friend, he follows the Premier League and he follows Manchester City. So I know a bunch about their games and how they're doing in the Champions League. So that's the closest second I have.
Wow, G, you suck.
Wow, yeah. I don't have a lot of time to like catch up with all the sports, man.
You
I'm
think
not a
I have a lot of
journalist.
time to catch up
You're
on
a
sports? I
journalist.
don't cover traditional sports.
You used to.
Yeah, used to is the key word there.
But that's the thing. You already know about all those sports. I need to learn the leagues. You know how long I didn't get into basketball until like 3, 4 years ago.
Your point.
My point is I had to learn it. I
Yeah.
don't know all the NBA rules and everything. I barely knew the players.
Okay, G. So your first step was getting into the NBA. Now we're gonna get you.
No,
into
no, no.
hockey.
I know where this is going. No.
Time to start watching hockey, G. The
Oh,
Blackhawks
hell
are good.
no. I know they're good. I just can't, man.
Bandwagon.
No.
Patrick Kane is the GOAT. Start.
Stop.
Get your shirts, G.
I'm not a big fan of bandwagoning.
2016 Stanley Cup champions, I think. I don't know.
Probably. I don't know. They've won.
They won a lot, and then they lost to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Anyway, what is your views on video games and
Wait, but we have to talk about like why we identify, G. We have to specify. We can't just like gloss over the fact, talk about what we like, and then not go.
I was trying to avoid you continuing talking about the hockey and like.
We don't have to talk about hockey. We just need to talk about like why we identify with these teams and like why it's such a big deal to us. Why the
I get it,
overall nature of the sports is combative by nature just because of the game, but it's even worse when like people who aren't playing the game get into it. So because it's just such a culture, armchair coaching, stuff like that. It's I don't do that. I don't like it. I provide commentary on games. Like on Twitter last night, I was talking a lot about the Lakers, just because like halfway through the third quarter, it was an unwatchable game.
Yeah,
it was awful, and then they came back, and I watched the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I have a serious, not a serious issue, but I don't enjoy the whole. I'm a diehard fan of this team, and regardless of what happens, I'm always on their side. I think that's like a really bad attitude to have.
It is. It's really bad.
Yeah, teams do bad things. Players on those teams do bad things.
Looking at you, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
God, this has been an
just
awful
because
season.
Like you can be a fan of that team and criticize them, and
trust me, I've been doing a lot of that.
Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of that, but I understand why people associate themselves with teams and sort of take pride and get hurt when the teams do good or do bad and are criticized. I mean, if we want to get down to the nitty gritty, humans are very social creatures, and we seem to always go back to creating groups, regardless of how much anarchy.
I thought you were just about to say how Antarctica we are.
Yeah, how Antarctica we are. We're very Antarctica.
It sounded like that's
here.
were going, and I was like,
I was fumbling the word a little.
We're gathering for warmth while we cheer on our stupid teams.
Yeah, that's why we stick together. Collectively
eat wings, pizza, and try and gather our body warmth like penguins.
Exactly. I knew you figured this out.
Look, it's just so okay. I'm gonna put it in just perspective like this. Like I said, don't have a diehard hockey team. I just enjoy hockey. Mm-hmm. Like I watched the Stars play the. I don't even remember who they were playing now. Oh, the Penguins. It was the Stars and Penguins game the other day because it was National Hockey Day in America, so they played a lot of hockey games. And I watched that while I was writing, and it was really fun. Enjoyed it. Penguins won. It was great. So like that was really fun. I enjoy it. And once we start getting to, I'm a diehard Gonzaga fan, but only to the extent that that's the team I follow in college the most. Mm-hmm. So like I know the most about Gonzaga. Like Josh Perkins? Gosh, I can't remember his first name because I only know them by their last names, but or for the most part. But Perkins broke the record for assists. He's the leading assist leader in Gonzaga history now. That was really cool. So they're ranked number 2 in the country right now. It's great. But the only diehard team, the only team I am a diehard for, is Pittsburgh because I don't care about football enough to care about any other teams.
Right.
So I follow the general landscape of the NFL. I don't follow college football hardly at all, other than watching a couple games here and there with some friends. So the Steelers are the only team I care about in the entirety of the NFL. And even then, like the past 5 years football's been like nothing to me. It's just like I don't watch a lot of football anymore. I watch key games or when I have the chance to watch them, but I don't go out of my way to watch football. I go out of my way to watch random basketball games. Like I will watch. I have a top 5 teams I watch in the NBA. Like if their game is on, I'll probably have it on in the background. Just because I love basketball that much. Football has become essentially just like a a side pastime in my life.
Yeah, no, I
Because
don't blame you.
it's just the I don't have like stances like we're not going to get into politics, but like the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, like that it didn't ruin the sport for me. Like I'm not going to not watch the NFL because he kneeled.
That's a bit of a blemish on it.
I'm not going to watch it because I think the way that the NFL handled that was awful.
Yeah.
I think I'm in support of Colin Kaepernick, but like not for the reasons everybody is complaining about him for. Let's looking at it objectively. I'm just the NFL isn't a product that I want to watch as much as I'd prefer to watch, and most other people would prefer to watch the NBA at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the NBA is trending upward while the NFL is stagnating, and that's not based on any statistic. I know a lot about the NBA's like viewership increasing. They're about to start the National Basketball the FIBA, the basically the International Basketball Association.
Mm-hmm.
Is helping start an NBA almost like G League in Africa.
Oh, okay.
So that got announced a couple weeks, like a week ago, I think. And so that stuff is amazing. They take care of their players after they retire.
That's great.
It's a lot more. It's a team oriented sport. There's more personality because you see the players, you see their expressions. Like there's stuff wrong with the NBA, there's stuff wrong with the NHL, there's stuff wrong with the NFL, but it's like
it's trending in the right direction with the NBA.
Yeah, the NBA just is in a better place.
Yeah.
Right now, like long-term success and right now.
Yeah, but going back to the original point here, with how we label ourselves. So, you're clearly not labeling yourself as a NFL fan.
No, it's Steelers. It's Pittsburgh. Just because that's what we have family. We had a couple of family friends or family connections that played for the team, and that drove me to root for them. And for the entirety of high school and all that stuff, I rooted for them, and I still do, and I will from this point on. It's just it's become the side gig.
Yeah, and that's a fine reason. Like there's plenty of reasons why people get into a specific like fandom or group, in terms of supporting a team. In your case, it's family. Is respecting your family,
which
or
is hilarious
because you care for your family, and
none of my other family roots for the Steelers. It's just me. My mom is a Bears fan, and my dad is a Buffalo Bills fan. Which, boy, that is not good.
Oof. But yeah, so like that's a reason, or a lot of people's reasons. It's hometown. I get to catch their games all the time. I get more exposure to them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love the Thunder so much. Like the Thunder moved here right after I'd become a huge NBA fan. So I was already a Celtics fan before the Thunder came here, which when people give me crap about why aren't you a hometown like fan or whatever, why don't you support your hometown team, it's like I do, it's just I had a team before that.
Yeah, it's a relatively new city
it's been
city
11 years, like, but I've been an NBA fan for 15 or more than that, but I've been a conscious NBA, like going out of my way to watch the games myself for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I just like the fact that I'm a Celtics fan directly stems from the fact my favorite player of all time is Kevin Garnett, and I followed him over from the Timberwolves, and the Celtics were such a better organization than the Timberwolves were that I just kind of stuck.
Yeah, that's another reason. Players. Some people.
Oh, that's where we're headed. That's the nature of the NBA right now. Not so much the NFL, because the NFL is still such a team-driven thing. The way the league is going with younger people, like people are becoming fans of players
Yeah.
and not organizations, especially in in the league that's, as like Chris Bosh had said on the Bill Simmons podcast. Which, God, if you have to listen to one podcast in the last, like, just like over the weekend or whatever after you're done listening to this, because if you're this far in, you might as well finish out because we're about done.
Mm-hmm.
The nature of that podcast was talking about Chris Bosh finally accepting that he's going to retire, talking about his career, talking about where the NBA is headed in an era of player empowerment that he helped start when he went to Miami, and talking about how it's becoming an AAU environment where these kids have played for, they live in New York, but they play for a team in Texas for 2 years and then they bounce to another team with another set of players where one of their friends is over there now, and that's where we're headed. The contracts are overall shorter. We're not going to keep seeing like the 1-and-1 deals. I think after Kevin Durant leaves, if he leaves or if he decides to stay in Golden State, that will become a kind of a thing of the past. Like, it'll still be around, but like a player isn't going to do 1-and-1s as often.
Right.
So that's going to go away, but it's still going to be like what LeBron signed a 3-year deal, 4-year deal, right?
4 year, I believe.
Yeah, 4 years is a long time, but it's not an eternity.
No, it's pretty standard nowadays for
yeah, it's well that's the non, if you leave the team you're on and go sign with another team, 4 years is the max they can offer. Compared to, I don't know what the max in the NFL is because I don't care, but baseball, what's his face, the guy from the Dodgers who played in the World Series just got 10 years, $300 million.
Jesus.
So now there's an opt out after the 5th year, which is kind of like 5 years is kind of like the general consensus for, that's the length of a contract.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got the opportunity to be there in one place for 10 years. So it's just becoming a mentality where the players can get their money essentially anywhere. Nobody wants to be locked into that, either the team or the players. It's one side or the other. Doesn't want to be locked into the Supermax contract that the league tried to do to keep players in the small markets, because they don't want, I don't even know what percentage. It's a huge percentage of the cap. Like John Wall's going to make almost $50 million in the 5th year of this contract.
Considering all the issues, that is
well,
ridiculous.
Even before they signed him to that, it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
But they wanted to keep him there, and now they're going to be paying for it because that contract is untradeable.
Mm-hmm.
Even before the injuries happen, nobody wants to pay $50 million for one player.
But all this is affecting how fans function. Like with me, like you said, how with you followed Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, it was a player, and then it became a love of the organization because the organization built something around. They brought in KG, they built that era, and then after that era, even when we went into the rebuilding phase after we traded for those Nets picks, there was only 1 year where it wasn't fun.
Yeah,
like the year where
been a fun organization.
The year we ran out Gerald Wallace in the starting lineup with Rondo, who was hurt and didn't want to play there anymore, and a whole bunch of nobodies, and then Jeff Green.
Yeah.
Like, that was not fun. There were a couple fun games, like Jeff Green hitting the game winner against Miami. Yeah, fun. Which I could think that was the year before that. But anyways, like, after that, we started getting fun again. We had Marcus Smart. We eventually got Isaiah Thomas. We signed Al Horford. We did all these things, and it became fun again.
Yeah.
And then now we're in a position where I'm not having a lot of fun with this season because it's essentially turmoil. Like, last season was fun because of different reasons, but like my favorite player is Gordon Hayward now, and he was out for the entire season with a very gruesome injury, and he's having struggles coming back.
I feel for Gordon. I am having fun that the Celtics are having issues, though.
Yeah, and it's like, it's good narrative-wise.
It's great for anyone who's not an avid fan or doesn't like Celtics. But I understand where you're coming from. Me personally, and I think this is with a lot of Chicago fans, people from Chicago who were huge fans of the Bulls during Derrick Rose's
during the early, like the late
3-4 year stretch where he was
that 4
really
years
good.
where he was one of the top like 5-10 players in the league. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. He gathered a lot of fans, really die-hard fans, because of not only was he uh, bringing back and making the team relevant since Jordan, he was a hometown kid,
Yeah.
and they embraced that so heavily. So, now, mind you, I wasn't born in Chicago, so I don't have that like strong of a connection with the town itself. But he he was such a fun player to watch, and I've gone back and seen old videos and like I want to see that. So I follow him, just to see if I can catch glimpses. As a player, he's really really entertaining. So I followed him on the Knicks, and I followed him for the very short time he was on Cleveland, and I was following the Minnesota Timberwolves until they became injury plagued. And
I officially gave up on the Timberwolves last year. They are out. They
had
dropped.
hope.
Nope, they dropped out of my top 5 as soon as, like,
The Jimmy Butler stuff.
no,
Before?
because I hate Tom Thibodeau's system.
Oh yeah, no, his I wasn't happy with that. As much as people like Tibbs from the Bulls, like I was not happy with him being the coach.
Like, Tom Thibodeau is one of my least favorite coaches, and he was on the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
He was the
He's a
assistant.
good coach, at least on the defense.
He does
end,
not
but
adapt to the world
no,
around him.
no, he does not.
So
He's
I
very
just-
much stuck in the past.
But we're getting into the weeds basketball wise. That's not this podcast.
Yeah, that is
So,
not this podcast.
The moral of the,
my
let's move on from this to in a gaming sense, because it's not the same thing, but it's similar enough to where the parallels are drawn. So let's say the console, if I had to choose one right now, I would keep my Switch, because I have been and will probably forever be a Nintendo player first. Now, that's not to say I don't love Sony, because I had a we had a PS1, didn't play a lot on that because it was my dad's. Had a PS2. That was the system I played the most outside of the GameCube at that time, and I'm not counting handhelds because my Game Boy and DS I played way too much.
Mhm.
We got an Xbox 360 around the time the Wii started being on the decline, and I didn't care about that much. And then I got a PS3 specifically to play One Piece Pirate Warriors, that franchise, because it was a Sony exclusive, because Sony gets all the like Japanese games, like the games that most people wouldn't play on in America. So I think that now I'm not as much as Sony. Like, God of War and Spider-Man, freaking amazing games.
Yeah.
But like, if I had to choose one thing to hook my, like, I had to play this system for this brand for the rest of my life, it'd be Nintendo. Because I know for a fact I'm going to get some of the games I love, a bunch of third-party weird stuff. Now I'm getting a ton of indie games. Like, I'm not getting the same stuff out of any of the consoles I have right now other than the Switch, and then PC just isn't my cup of tea for the most part.
Yeah, that's fine. And on my side of things, I'm a little different than you, because you've gotten the experience of almost every console that's come out in like the last 15 years.
Yep.
To some degree. My experience has been, and I shit you not, I started with the original NES, and then a PlayStation 2.
That's a big jump. Like,
Well,
that's a really big jump.
That is because I physically jumped from one country to another. I was not born in the United States, so that is why.
Congratulations, G.
Yeah, so had a PlayStation 2.
You
And
jumped from
then-
playing like you jumped from playing Mario Bros to playing
We didn't have Mario Bros. I had the Batman and Terminator.
Okay, so you jumped from playing games that you would never beat
Yes.
to some of the greatest games of all time.
Yes, and I had so much fun with PlayStation. I'm so sad I don't have it anymore.
Time to go to vintage stock, G.
Yeah. Then I got the Xbox for like a year, and it got me and my brother hooked to the Halo games, so we got an Xbox 360.
How dare you, you coward.
And I do not regret getting the Xbox 360, because Halo 3, Halo Reach, and even to an extent Halo 4 and its
Was
Forge
Halo
mode.
4 on Xbox 360?
Yes, it was the last Halo game on there.
Huh.
It was on the new gen as well, I believe, but it was on
Who knows?
360 first.
I haven't been an
It was
Xbox guy.
yeah. I don't regret any of that. But after that, I got a PC, and I ain't going back.
Get a Switch,
Especially
you
not.
coward.
Never. I mean, maybe, but never. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my PC. It it satisfies me in all ways. I've got
Gee,
a variety of games.
we've
I don't
told
have to
you.
pay for
Gee,
access to the internet.
nobody asked you about your sexual experiences.
Not yet. It's just a preemptive. Anyway, um,
Yeah, I totally get that because as somebody who is in the privileged position to experience all the consoles, now that's mainly because my hobby is gaming. Like
yeah, of
that
course,
is my only hobby because my other hobbies, if you can call them that, are writing.
and that
So,
relates to your work.
and that's my work.
So that's more
So,
of a passion.
yeah, and reading.
Hmm.
So, out of those things, the only one that actually costs money is gaming.
Yes.
So, I bought a PS4 specifically to play Metal Gear Solid 5, which is hilarious because I bought the game, I bought the collector's edition of MGS 5 and a PS4, and then I had to wait 5 months to play it because I got it the first semester of college, and I knew
Wow.
as soon as I put that disc in, I was not going to do my homework. So I waited until Christmas break
Yeah.
and then played 300 hours.
Yeah. There's a thing where I specifically avoid buying games during the school semester because of that.
See,
Um,
I can control myself to an extent. I have a friend that's like you, where he's the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan I know, and
mhm.
Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, so he is completely offline for the most, like for anywhere that could give him potential spoilers for Kingdom Hearts.
Oh wow.
And he, as soon as graduation hits, he's buying the Kingdom Hearts 3 PS4 Pro and Kingdom Hearts 3.
Wow.
That's going to be his reward, which
Jeez.
is the same thing he did with the Switch. He did the same thing because he's a huge Legend of Zelda guy. So he waited until literally the day he finished after his last final of the day. He went to GameStop, bought a Switch, bought Zelda, and played it for 24 straight hours.
Instantly.
Yep. So that's
Yeah.
his way of doing it. There are games that I can get like Metal Gear Solid 5. I like with all the Kojima stuff. I figured it was going to be the last one in the franchise. So I wanted to wait, and I knew I was going to binge it.
Yeah.
For games like, oh, the new Pokemon game comes out, I know it's not going to take me longer than 24 hours to beat, so I can take my time with it and play it over like I can play 8 hours the day I get it and still get work done,
Yeah.
so I can plan around it, which is what I typically do for most of my games.
Yeah.
I
So
just plan around releases to know when I will have free time. Like Spider-Man, I did all my homework and work weeks in advance so I could beat that game in a weekend. And I did.
priorities. Priorities.
So, oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what would you say is your specific reason for choosing the Nintendo consoles over everything else?
other than
As
the
like you,
other than the fact that like the Game Boy is what I grew up with. So like my first
partially nostalgia.
well, yeah, but it's less nostalgia and more to the point where literally the first memory I have of playing a game is my dad letting me play his original like Game Boy, and
Right.
I'm playing Tetris. So that's my first memory of gaming's, like just in general.
Hmm.
So and then from there, once I got older, he bought me Pokemon Silver, and that's like, and then Red after I found out I
So
liked
you've
Pokemon.
sort of always been a Nintendo guy
Yeah.
first.
So and I mean we had the PS1, and then we later got the PS2, and then but like my we didn't buy the PS2. One of my dad's friends at the fire station was like, "Hey, I have this PlayStation. I'm not going to use it. Do you want it for your kids?" And so we got a PS2, but the only games I didn't play any of the weird thing about my history as a gamer is
Hmm.
for PS2 GameCube. It's essentially like the mainline consoles. I never played any of the classics. So like for PS2, the games I played on PS2 were Dragon Ball fighting games,
Okay.
Guitar
Those were
Hero,
legit. Yeah, yeah. Look good.
uh, and like games of that vein. I never played Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. I never played any of those
Oh my god, you're missing out.
until
Did you
I
play
played them now.
Okay.
Like I bought a Vita specifically to play a bunch of those collections.
Okay.
But
Good.
like I
Good.
that's why my backlog is so big. Like I've told you countless times how big my
You had
backlog
told
is.
me, and I worry that you're not gonna finish.
Exactly, and that's why it's so big. Because outside of the, it's like GameCube, I had Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Super Mario Strikers, and Mario Party 7. I never had Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Super like Paper Mario, anything. I didn't have any of the classics on that system either, and that's my favorite system of all time. Like,
Wow.
it's the only like up until the Wii, I never played the classics. The Wii was the first. I didn't even have Smash Bros on the GameCube. Like
That's a shocker.
or Wind Waker. Like I didn't have any of the classics on the GameCube for the most part. So my history with the classics, the first time I ever played Mario was the collection on Game Boy Advanced.
Wow.
So like I other than Pokemon, I didn't play any of the like games that are considered classics. The only F-Zero game I had played up to that point when I bought F-Zero GX for myself
Mm-hmm.
was, and that was years after it had come out, like 10 years later. It was the F-Zero something or other on Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. So outside of like Game Boy, and then like later Professor Layton on DS and Phoenix Wright on DS and all these DS games, I didn't play any of the classics until I got my PS3, which ironically enough I got for One Piece because the One Piece Pirate Warriors games were only on PlayStation. So I got a PS3
Yeah.
to play the first one, and then the second
Mhm.
one came out almost immediately after I finished the first one. And then from there, I kind of started playing the classics because a bunch of the PS3 games were super cheap.
Yeah.
So
You see, my experience is very, very, very different from yours. So, I as I mentioned, I had those NES games. So I was very young at the time.
mhm.
I was like three, 4 years old when I played those. So I don't remember them too well. Um, so the PlayStation 2 is really what I would consider the first true console I owned and played. And
Yeah, same here. Other
Yeah.
than like as a console, that was the first console I have. I don't remember. My memory is pretty foggy around the 2000 time, so I know I had a Game Boy Advanced at that point, but no, I didn't. It wasn't out yet. the The GameCube came out in 2000. The PS2 came out in 2000. I don't remember which one we had first because we got the GameCube that Christmas,
Right.
and I don't remember when we got the PS2. Either way, it similar times, but the PS2 is what I remember playing first.
Yeah. So, aside from the PlayStation 2, now I did eventually get the original Xbox,
Yeah, yeah,
um, but I never played it as much as the PlayStation 2 because I would eventually get an Xbox 360,
yeah,
not more than like a year afterwards.
yeah. Because that
So
that matches up. Yeah,
the only console I got that I would consider myself a fan of that specific console amongst that generation of consoles is the PlayStation 2. Every other console, while I could make an argument I was a 360 fan, whenever I went to my friend's house who had PlayStation 4s, I played them like hell, and I didn't really give a shit. It didn't matter to me. The things that mattered were the games, because I wanted a PlayStation 4 as well, because I wanted to continue playing like the Ratchet and Clank games.
yeah.
The games are what mattered. I cared about those games more than I cared about the consoles. So, and uh, I had franchises that I loved in each console, and I want to play them in each and every console. So, if I could get my hands on them, I wouldn't care which console we're on. So, when it comes to the fandom thing, I like my PC. I wish I could play the Halo games on them. There was actually someone who was making a Halo 3 mod
Gee,
in the
you
past.
can play Halo on PC.
No, I
Yeah,
mean
you can.
Halo
Yeah,
3.
you can.
What do you mean?
The Master Chief Collection you can buy through the Windows Store.
Can you play it?
Yeah, you can play when you
Where?
can play most Microsoft first party games through
Mm,
Windows.
I I'll look into that because
I can almost guarantee you can play it on PC.
with multiplayer,
Yeah,
I
you
still doubt that. To
you would have to buy no, you'd have to buy Xbox Live to play multiplayer.
okay, that's the issue. You're not. That's not really a PC. At that point. It feels like I'm emulating an Xbox
To
360
and to
online.
an extent you would be, but what I'm saying is the opportunity is there to for you not. That's why the rumor of Xbox doing the app on the Switch
Mhm.
isn't that surprising to me because they already do it with PC. Now Windows is a Microsoft thing and Microsoft
Right.
owns Xbox. So it makes more sense there. So
Yeah, but that's
it
that's where I
it
have
opens up
issues.
but I understand you have issues with it, but it still opens up the possibility.
Yep, I'll admit that is
It's
a
not
nice
what you
option.
would want specifically, but that does
No,
give
no,
more people the option.
yeah. But my point is, I'm a Halo fan,
Hmm?
and as I mentioned before, though, I am not like an avid crazy fan where it's like, oh, all the games. No, the last, basically all the 343 games I have significant issues with.
Yeah, I'm
I
not a
had
Halo guy
issues
at
with
all, so go off.
Halo Reach. I don't really enjoy the multiplayer as much, because while I admit
Yeah, I didn't
that
play a lot of the multiplayer. That's the only Halo game I have experience in.
yeah, Halo Reach changed its multiplayer to be a little bit more. The kills came a little quicker. People then died a little quicker.
More
I think
fast
their
paced.
health
It was
was
to keep up with Call of
yeah,
Duty.
yeah. It was a little bit more fast paced. The guns had a bit of I forgot, a crosshair bloom on them, which was I didn't personally like it.
Okay,
But at the end of the day,
we're getting into the weeds, G.
yeah, we're getting into the weeds. Anyway, my point is they made some changes and I was okay with them. While I didn't appreciate them, I was okay and I understood why they were doing it. And I still love that game. And I still played a ton of it. And I still played a ton of Halo 4, even though I thought, man, this is really dumbed down multiplayer that's just not that great.
I am going to give you good news. If you want now, the Master Chief Collection does not have good multiplayer in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
in my experience, it could have been fixed since then because I know they had a big update and other things could have happened. It could have just been my experience because I'm not a Halo guy, so it could have been jaded. But you can play 1, 2, 3, and 4. Was four a Master Chief game? I think
Yeah.
you can play all four of those games. Their story and everything for like $20 on
Yeah.
Xbox or PC. So if you haven't played Halo and you have a Windows PC and you can make a Xbox account or whatever, you can play it without the multiplayer for $20.
Well, that's the thing. The multiplayer is like the
Yeah,
good
but is
like
the multiplayer what you remember?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, 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 no. Not like in your mind what you remember from playing it. I'm talking about now. Like if you went into that game, would it be the same? And the answer is no.
No, you don't understand. I've gone back to Halo 3 in the past.
I'm not talking about you going to play Halo 3 like as a replay thing. I'm talking about if you picked up the Master Chief Collection and were playing Halo 3 multiplayer on the Master Chief Collection now.
Oh, are you saying? Are you telling me that the Master Chief Collection is different than?
Well, I don't know if it's different because I didn't have the experience of playing Halo 3 online. I played with friends like twice.
I can't imagine they would mess with
It's
it
not
that
that they would
much.
change the mechanics or change the other things. The experience that I had playing Halo 2 multiplayer and Halo 3 multiplayer and Halo 4 multiplayer, I think,
Mhm.
on the Master Chief Collection wasn't good. And I don't know if that's because the game itself doesn't emulate it well. Like, emulate the experience well, not emulate the game, because the game runs
Right.
fine. I don't know if the experience is just different or if it's just me because I didn't play it back then, so I don't have the nostalgia for it. I just
Um.
don't know if it holds up,
um,
which is why I'm warning against that thought because I know Halo 3 for a fact had amazing multiplayer for when it came out. That is the thing that
it
everybody talks
was.
about.
Yeah, it was a very simplified multiplayer.
Yeah. So
Like there wasn't. It wasn't very in depth. So I understand. it can seem lackluster in comparison.
Yeah, and I don't even
Um,
know what modes I played from which game because the matchmaking, like you can go into an overall pool and you'll go into matches from all four different games, or you can go into specific ones and blah blah blah, whatever. That's weeds. What I'm saying is, for me, as a person who really the first franchise I got into outside of a Nintendo franchise
mhm.
that was big because Pokemon and then Phoenix Wright, and then from there I expanded into what I am now and I play all the games. The only at the time the PlayStation exclusive that I played, the first I'm trying to think, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 was the first Metal Gear I played.
Okay.
And I love Metal Gear.
Yeah.
So that was the first kind of gateway into it. And then I didn't even know about I don't even think I knew about Metal Gear Solid 4 when I got my PS3 because I
Hmm.
didn't care at that point. I had my DS and I had all of my favorite games on my DS. I think the new Professor Layton game had just come out, so I was over the moon. But I'm a Nintendo guy. I will continue to be a Nintendo guy. But I love it's easier for me in gaming than it is in sports because I've never been the guy that's like console wars.
Yeah, no. I've never really been in that aspect,
Like,
and again, for me, it's always been the games, and I've never.
exactly.
I don't, and there's obviously like game wars to a certain degree. Like there was a battle between Halo and Call of Duty. I own Call of Duty games as
That
well.
that's
I have
that's
my own.
that's its own thing. That's not even like a loyalty thing. That's just a which game do you prefer? Which is
Well, with those games, it actually did kind of become a
yeah, but
loyalty.
that's because people are stupid.
Yeah, I do like that. That was dumb. I had issues with. I didn't have issues with Halo 3. I had issues with Reach for its own reasons. I had issues with Modern Warfare 2 for its own reasons. That had nothing to do with the other game.
Yeah,
Also, this reminds me. I have played Halo 3 on PC. It was this mod called El Dorado where someone was taking
I've heard about it.
assets
Yeah,
from Halo 3 and recreating the game on PC.
yeah. It wasn't like it was like not a browser based thing, but you signed up for it through a browser,
Um,
something like
yeah,
that.
I don't remember
There, I
exactly.
remember
We
some
just kind
friends
of down.
playing it.
We downloaded it, me and a couple friends, and there was matchmaking lobbies going because it's Halo 3. Of course, people wanted to play it. It was fun. It was so fun, and like that's the thing. Like I don't really mind if it's nostalgia. I want to play those games again.
Yeah,
Um, and like
just
unlike
just
with
just
sports,
just yeah. Continue your point real quick.
yeah,
Finish your point.
unlike with sports where I'm watching something and I'm becoming emotionally invested or just invested in that team or a player because of what they do. With these games, it's I'm playing, I'm being active and
Hmm.
participating in this experience,
It's
and
unique for you.
yeah, and it's unique for me, and I am getting a certain feeling for being active, and I want to experience that feeling again.
Yep. I'll raise this point to you wanting to play Halo again. Just wait
Sure.
until 20.
Halo 6.
No, no, no. Whatever. The rumored next gen stuff is going to start getting announced next year
Mm-hmm.
or towards the end of this year. I don't think it's going to be E3 this year when we hear about whatever the next Xbox or the next PlayStation is. Now, if Xbox is going the route we think they're going and they're going to announce this app for PC and Switch and whatever else they're going to do, maybe phones if
I
they
am not buying Xbox Live if that's what
okay.
it takes.
What I'm
Just
saying
putting
is, if
that. Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that I think is going to happen is in whenever this next iteration of the Xbox comes out, which is essentially going to be, hey, it's got a disk drive, so if you live in a bad area with no Wi-Fi and you need the disk, you can use it, but it's mainly a streaming box.
Right, of course.
Then I think they're going to do a reduced price for like so normal Xbox Live Gold is $60 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put, I'd probably say $100 a year, you would get Xbox Live and Game Pass for a year.
Wait, $100 a year?
$100 flat for a year, which compared to now, Game Pass is $10 a month. So you'd essentially be paying $60 for Xbox Live, $40 for, and that's not saying that's the base model,
Mm-hmm.
but you can combine the two and get Xbox Live for 60, Game Pass
Yeah,
for 40, $100 total. So you save, I don't, that's roughly $100.
That is a value offer. The only issue is I'm not the sort of person who collects games.
No, no. See, that's the point. You don't collect games with Game Pass.
Oh, how does that work?
Game Pass is Netflix for video games.
I could just play whatever.
You can play whatever, and all the Microsoft first-party games come immediately day one to Game Pass.
Okay, I mean that's.
So
I feel like that would cause me more issues because one of the reasons I say I don't buy games when
you're indecisive.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not indecisive.
And it's time. I understand that.
I'll procrastinate if I have the opportunity to.
Okay. So that's an issue for you. But what I'm saying is, for somebody like you who, at the time, like we're saying
it's
this,
a great
like,
offer. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It's a great offer. You'd get to play your games online, and you wouldn't have to pay extra money to play the new Microsoft games that come out. Plus, there's tons of games that get added free, like monthly. Like all of the new Tomb Raider games are on there now. They just added the newest one.
Gotcha.
They add huge titles get added all the time.
Okay.
And so it's not only a good deal, but for somebody like you who's like, I want to go and experience the old Halo online multiplayer. Plus, this gives you an opportunity to, without having to get an Xbox, you can use your PC to do this.
Right.
You get that plus a huge library of games for one price a year. And now that's not digging into anything else. That's just what my solution to the scenario that we laid out with you would be.
Yeah, I would consider it
because it's like you're not because it's $120 a year for Game Pass right now.
Yeah.
So, and that's without, and now that is still a good deal if you do that instead of buying games.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a great deal.
Yeah, no, you're getting a lot of value out of it. And all the games you have access to is definitely worth more.
I have played so many games that I wouldn't have played because I have Game Pass.
Yeah.
Now I only have it until the end of April, and I probably won't renew it because at the end of April I'm gonna want to finish off the rest of my other games from other console backlog. Like right now, I'm playing Switch and Xbox games almost exclusively because I want to get it.
Far more dedicated to getting through your games than I am. Like just
because I love playing games. I love playing all the games. So like I don't play a lot of AAA games because I enjoy the smaller experiences. Like right now I'm playing Into the Breach and I'm having a blast with it. It's a super replayable game, but I'm probably going to beat it once and then be done.
I won't get into this, but I'll just lay this down. I have noticed that I as a child had a lot more patience for games than I do now. I would be able to get through and continuously play the same game over and over and over and over without ever tiring.
Oh yeah, now you get sick of the same experience.
Yeah, I get very sick very quickly,
I'm
and
the same boat.
I prefer multiplayer because of that, because it provides the same experience with a new
twist.
Experience. Yeah,
I remember
you can't predict other people.
I famously, my friends know me back in high school for maxing out the counter. Well, high school, I say, middle school. Know me for maxing out the timer on Pokemon Diamond.
Oh, wow.
Because that's the same experience, and there's a story in that game that once you beat it, there's not a whole lot else to do. And I kept playing that game. So, going into, like, that came out in 2006, so middle school me had a lot more patience than I do now. Which, I mean, I still have a lot because I play a lot of games. But it does, there are games where I get 30 hours in, and then like Octopath Traveler, I love that game, but I got 30 hours in and I'm just like, I know exactly how long this is going to take because it's a Square Enix game. And I don't have that kind of time or patience.
I finished Ninja Gaiden 2 and then I went back to it like 5 years later. I was like, how the hell did I play this?
Yeah, because it's so
repetitive. I can't get through it.
Yep. But that's all a very roundabout way of saying, man, people are stupid and care about things way too much. Why don't, like, sure, there's like objectively, like, this generation was dominated by PlayStation. That's that is objective.
Well, you're talking about the PlayStation 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
just like last generation. Okay, and it's weird because last generation.
Okay, wait a second. I'll cut off. I don't think dominating is proper because if we're talking about consoles, the Switch still should be.
That Switch doesn't count. Switch is
It doesn't
not.
count.
Switch came out during the Switch. I think the only console that came out at the same. The Wii came out at the same time as the Xbox 360 and the PS3,
Yeah.
but the Wii U came out halfway through the life cycle of those of those systems, and then
so it's okay.
they're on their own timetables.
Yeah. All right.
And plus the Switch is you can play it as the Switch is in its own category because Nintendo just doesn't care.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the two big console players. The PS4 dominated this generation in sales, in exclusives. That's completely objective. Like, I might love a lot of the games that Sony put out, but like I love a lot of the games Xbox put out too. It's just me looking at it objectively.
Oh no, yeah, it's not really a contest.
Whereas the last generation, it's objective to say that the Xbox 360 one, even though at the end of the generation, the PlayStation 3 almost caught up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
I mean,
it's just the way you look at it. It doesn't matter. Just play the good.
The last generation was a much more competitive field.
Oh yeah, no, the Xbox One completely blew it. This generation, like they had the lead, and the setup to dominate this generation too. They just didn't.
No, they made some bad choices upon unveiling it.
Yeah, but we're not going to get into that. What I'm saying is the sports thing is a little different, but for video games, just play good games, please.
I think it is okay and to become a fan of console.
Absolutely, you can be a fan of. You can be the Microsoft guy, or you can be
because you're like, I trust them to give me good experiences and good games.
Just don't put down people for enjoying other consoles. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's when it gets stupid.
If you come at me and say, "Wow, you're stupid. You like the Switch," I'm gonna laugh at you because I'm going to enjoy myself playing Switch games. So
yeah,
and I knew this was gonna happen. G.
We went over.
No, not we. There's no time limit to this podcast. G.
I thought you. Okay, well, never mind.
Oh, the answer is yes. We went over the mark we were aiming for at the beginning of this. I do wish to say I apologize to the people who thought we were close to being done after I said we were close to being done at a minute 30 or an hour 30.
Oh yeah, why'd you say that?
Because I thought we were, and then we delved into like the actual history of games that we played. So whatever.
Yeah,
who cares? I hope you enjoyed our gaming history on top of us being fanboys.
Yeah.
So, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the W.H.Y Cast.
It was fun.
It's been about
talking to y'all.
Yeah, almost 2 hours. Ask questions. Please. On Twitter or email me, I guess, @xjustified on Twitter or
spam him. It doesn't really need to be a question as long as we can make it into a question.
smichael@gmail.com. Yeah, it can be a statement, sure. Who cares?
And we'll take it and we'll analyze it.
First come, first served. I don't know how many questions we're gonna do. I don't know how many questions we're just gonna ignore. So, which is not a lot of them. So, ask your questions. I guarantee whichever
we're gonna ignore a question.
The first question we get, the first question I get on Twitter, I will guarantee a spot in this podcast. It doesn't matter what it is. Also, as soon as I said that, it started pouring outside. So that is not a good omen.
A bad omen, yeah.
But that's where we're going to end it today, guys. Thank you very much for listening. If this can get on iTunes, please review it. I don't know if you can review it on Google Play. I think you can. If you can, sure.
People use Google Play?
Yes, they do.
Oh my god.
So if you listen to it on Google Play, review it there. I have no idea how Spotify podcasts work, so enjoy listening to it on Spotify if that's where you listen to it. And keep your eye out for Wednesday. We're really going to try and get the Kuroko thing out this week because we have some really good ideas for that.
Yeah, anybody into basketball and anime or either or.
This turned into such a mixed bag of talking about sports and games that if you want to listen to us just talk about sports and specifically basketball and anime, Wednesdays are going to be for you, my friends.
Oh, they will be a treat.
We're about to get into some deep diving to some sports boys.
Yeah.
And then Friday. Yeah, and then Friday, if there's something on Friday, you can enjoy that too. I don't have any concrete plans yet, but there's something in the works. So enjoy the rest of your. I almost said the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the start of your week. I forget this goes up on Sunday every time we record this. So and we're ending it at 420.
Yeah.